guys, I hope you're doing absolutely amazing so far. Welcome to this video where we'll talk about shapes. So previously we saw how to create a component like text and images and how to apply modifiers on it to make it appear quite good as the requirement is. And in here we will talk about more components, shapes. So let's get started. So here I've mentioned the basic shapes. We'll talk about when we talk about shapes, we have circle, rectangle, capsule, rounded rectangle, ellipse, and the last two things, that is path and custom shapes, where we can actually create our own shape, which is, it doesn't look like this one. So we can actually draw it, we can give it path and we can draw it. And we'll have to write some code for it, and that will be all. And that's how we can create custom shapes. So we'll talk about basic shapes, then we'll talk about the modifiers we can apply on the shapes like stroke, border, shadows, gradients. We'll talk about some more modifiers like rotation, scaling, and offset. This is something that make some sort of animation really, but not really animation, just a rotation or scaling effect. And custom shapes, where we will draw the custom shape and animating the shape as well. Just a quick brief on how to animate it. So here we have our structure shape example, and here we are going to just paste in our example one by one and render it. So let's render the first one, the basic shape. So basic shape includes circle, rectangle, rounded rectangle, capsule, and ellipse. And we are rendering shape example in our preview, which is in the end here. Let's bring it up. And in the basic shape, if we talk about circle, we are applying the property fill, which will allow you to give a color and fill the shape with it. So color.blue is just giving you the blue circle, and we're giving it a frame as well, 100 by 100. And we're giving frame and color to all the shapes. For rectangle, it's red, and this is how it will appear. Rounded rectangle appears like this one, the edges are rounded. Capsule appears like a capsule, and ellipse just with the purple color, it appears like this. These are our basic shapes. And let's talk about stroke and border modifiers. Now, stroke and border modifiers. We have a circle, we have one modifier stroke, and here we have stroke border. So we have first shape circle and rounded rectangle. We are applying stroke and stroke border on it just to see the difference between what is stroke and what is stroke border. So circle, when we apply a stroke with the blue color, and the line width is what we have to mention. So it adds a blue border. So a stroke is just going to make the border blue and with the line width. And stroke border of the rectangle, you can see, actually let me give it 10. And you can see the rectangle is having the line width 10 and the color is red. It is also making the border a bit bold based on the line width, but there is a difference. If we do not apply stroke on the circle and stroke border on the rectangle, our they are appearing like this one. Let's not even give it a frame as well. So it appears like this. When we apply a stroke, it is going to make the border blue. And when we apply stroke border on the rectangle, it will make the border like this. Now let's increase the line width. So if we talk about a stroke, let's increase it to 100, 110. Let's make it 150 in fact. And you will notice that it is taking space from the inside. Right now it's appearing outside here. Let's give it 200. And it's taking space from the outside as well. And from the inside, let's give it 300. And it's expanding inside and outside both actually. But when it comes to stroke border, let me give it normal 10. When we talk about stroke border, it is going to expand which way is what we are seeing. Is it inside or outside? So first let's give it frame. Let's give frame to both of them, and let's experiment once again, giving 150. It's taken from inside and outside both. And when we give it 150, or let's give it 50 or 30, 20, it's just moving inside and taking from the inside. It's not really expanding outside. So stroke border basically going to take the space from the inside as much as possible. If we give it 25, it will take the rest of the space as well. If we give it frame width, let's say 200, and height 100, and increase the width, line width, by 55, or let's give it 35, it will just increase from the inside. It will just take the space from the inside as much as possible, but the stroke is just going to expand from the inside and outside. If we give line width 10, then the line width would be 10, but 5 will be inside, will be lying inside, and 5 will be lying outside. And that is about stroke borders. Let's talk about shadows and gradients as well. Let's talk about gradient. When you fill a rectangle, you can give a solid color or you can give it a gradient color. What it looks like is, let's render our gradient example, and let's move to our example. So you can see we have the vertical stack. Inside that we have two shapes, rectangular circle, filling with gradient. So here you can see it starts with blue, fades away a little bit here, and completely blue is fading away here and fading in purple here from here, and near the end, near the border, you can see purple is appearing solid. So in the gradient we can give it a linear gradient or radial gradient as well. We'll see the difference. Linear, it has three parameters: gradient, start, and end point. Start is top leading, bottom tailing is the end, so starts from here, ends here. And in the gradient we will just have to mention blue, purple, so it will start with blue and end with purple. If we give it more color in between, let's say white, then you will see in between there is white. So it will start with purple, start with blue, then white, then purple, and it looks like some sort of animation really, but or some sort of graphic. But you can create, easy, good looking graphics with just simple gradients. And just like linear, there is radial gradient, which is going to start from the center. There is a radius 10 and end radius 50. So from the center till the radius reaches 10 point, it will show yellow, and after that it will show red, and the 50 till 50 it will show red, and that is all. If we give white, then it will give white in between. So starting radius it's 10, till 10 it will show the first color for sure. After that, till 50 it will show these colors, and it will distribute according to it is going to be radial in nature, and that is how it looks like gradient. Now let's talk about shadows. So shadows and opacity is about, when we give a shadow, let's render this first, and you will see the shadow is all about the black color in the back, you can see. And the more you give the radius, let's give it 50, it will appear not quite all right. It got spreaded too much. If we give it 10, 20, it will spread and get less visible. So we have rounded rectangle with corner radius, and we're filling it with color green in a frame, and then shadow. Circle, frame, fill color, and the opacity. Opacity is all about how transparent you want to keep it. So for 1 it's going to be fully visible, but from 0.0 it won't be visible at all. 0.1 slightly visible. The more the value is, the more visibility it will be giving us. And let's talk about rotation, scaling, and offset. These are very straightforward topics, and you won't have any problem when you use these modifiers on shapes, and it will be fun really. So let's talk about rotation, scaling, and offset quickly. When it comes to rectangle, circle, and ellipse, we are filling with color, giving the frame, and applying our effect. So rotation effect, we just have to mention the degree, and it will just rotate it. Let's load our example. And we can see this one got rotated. It was a simple rectangle without the rotation effect. It looks simple, straightforward. If you rotate it by 45-degree, it will rotate. And this is not really animation, this is just some sort of effect we are applying, and it is getting applied not with any animation. It's just happening suddenly. Circle, we are filling it with color, giving the frame, and scale effect. It will make it, this is how the circle is, but if we apply the scale effect by 2, it will scale it up by 2. If we give it -2, it will scale it down by -2. No, so it's going to take only positive values. So let's remove it and apply it. We can give it 3 as well, and it will make it 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. If we give it 0 times, it's going to make it multiply the size with 0. If we give it 1, this is the original size, and this is twice. If I give it 0.5, it will make it half. And just like that, we can scale it up, scale it down based on the value you are giving. Ellipse, filling with color, giving it a frame, and offset is just going to move it to this coordinate, X and Y. So without this modifier, our ellipse is appearing here. The moment I apply this, it's gonna move. So it's just moved a little bit. If I give it Y 300, it just moves out of the screen. Let me give it 320 or 120, and it's gonna move that way. So if I give it 0 and X 0, then that is the original position. If I move it X by 220 or 50, and Y I give it 100, then it moves downwards positively. And that is it. That is how simple it is to apply rotation, scaling, and offset. Now let's talk about creating custom shapes. We have to create our structure triangle. We are going to create triangle. We create a function path after making it conform to the shape protocol. Inside that, we have this parameter rectangle, which is of type CGRect. It returns path. If you take a look at the definition of the path, the outline of a 2D shape. We create the object of path, and we move from this coordinate to this one by adding a line. Then we add another line by moving to this one from there, and then we just close the path. That means creating the line from wherever we are at this point to where we were, where we started. So closing the triangle. So the very first one move basically means the top point where we want to be. So it doesn't create line, just move your focus to that coordinate. Then it goes to the bottom right. So this is the point somewhere here. So it creates that, and then you go on the left. So you can see the minimum of X means the left side, and it creates the bottom line of the triangle. And closing the path means the bottom left is going to connect with the top uh, vertex and just going to return the path. So path is the 2D shape that we are returning, and it is really a view. So let's render this triangle, and you can see top one, then it went here, then here, then it closed. wherever is the initial point. Now let's render animating circle. Just a quick brief on animation. So we have a state property, and state property is something that decides a state. If there is any change in it, it is going to refresh the whole view. The whole code is going to just refresh. And we have a circle in here filling with a blue color frame. Now the width of the frame dependent on the value of this state. If it is true, it's going to be 150, otherwise slightly smaller. The width is going to be slightly smaller. Height is also it's going to be 150, but slightly smaller if it's false. So if it's true, we are showing the circle bigger, and if it's false, we are showing the circle smaller. And I am using dot on tap gesture. So if you tap on this one, it's going to toggle the is expanded state property. Toggle means if it's false, it's going to make it true. If it's true, it's going to toggle it to false. So right now it's false. So our frame is going to show 100 and 100 width and height. And on tap gesture, we will toggle this, it will turn true, and the size will get increased to 150 by 150. And how that change you want to see? Would you want to see just straightforward suddenly? Then don't do the animation. So let's click on this one, and it will suddenly scale up to 150 by 150. But if you want this thing with animation, whatever the change will happen in the circle, you want it with the animation. So we use dot animation, and it's a implicit animation. We'll talk about implicit explicit animation in upcoming videos. Amazing topic really, and it gives you so much of liberty to apply animations on which changes related to which state property. There is so much in it, and it gives you quite a good perspective on how to provide animations really in applications which is going to go production, right? And let's get back to this one. So ease in out is the effect with which you want this change. So the change is the size is getting from 100 to 150, the width and height. So that change you want with some effect. So the effect is going to be ease in out. The duration is 2, and we have to mention the property. If this property changes, then whatever the change is happening in the circle should happen with this ease in out. Now if you will tap, this effect will come, it will take 2 seconds. When you click again, it will toggle to false. So the changes that happens in here, it's going to happen, the change is going to happen in the duration 2 seconds. So this is just a quick brief on animations. There is a lot many interesting things that we are going to read, but for this video we're going to keep up to this one, and that is all. I hope we have covered everything, and that will be all. I hope you find this video informative, and let's connect in the next one.